Welcome to another episode of Brave Namibia, where we celebrate both ordinary and extraordinary Namibians. Our first stop today is Windhoek, where Tanja Bause caught up with a busy Luis Manana. He, of course, is the inspiration behind the popular children's series Waka Waka Mu. However, he also has his own clothing line, represented Namibia in Big Brother Africa as well as worldwide as a model, and he's the first Namibian male to make the Forbes Africa 30s Under 30 list, which he did in 2019.
Zuriel. My name is Luis Manana. I am 29 years old. I am turning 30 in July, so I'm gonna be 30 very soon. I'm a creative director for Waka Waka Mu, Zuriel. I am one of the co-founders for the MTC Windhoek Fashion Week. So I produce TV shows. I'm in the fashion industry. I have my own label. I have a kids TV show. I have a preschool. And yeah, I'm just your media personality.
Where do you come from? Where did this all start?
I was born and raised in Rundu, right here on the Namibian map. So I was born and raised in Rundu, and I always thought that there was more to the world, because being confined in a small town makes you feel like, okay, there's Windhoek to look forward to. But then I always knew that there was more outside of Windhoek. There's a bigger world. So I was an overachiever. I was a straight A student. I was top of my class, top of grade 1 to 12 or whatever the case may be. So that thing of excelling was always in me. So when I finished school, I moved to Cape Town to go study, to pursue my career in accounting. And while I was studying accounting, I was struggling a little bit to pay for school. So then I started modeling. So that's how I got introduced into the media scene. I was modeling, and I was modeling across Africa, all over the world, outside of Africa. So that's when I fell in love with media. I felt like an imposter, because I was like, what business does this boy from Rundu have modeling overseas with European models, American models, with models from other African countries? I had this imposter syndrome where I was like, okay, they are going to discover you any moment now. Any moment now, they're going to expose you as a fraud, because I felt like I didn't belong there. But eventually, as I kept being told, you're actually good at this, you can do it. You have the face, you have the features, you have the height, you have the walk. I started to believe in myself more, but after people had validated me, it took me a while to understand that I actually belong here. I am no imposter. So eventually I warmed up to that status of, okay, you are an international model. You are no longer just a model that came from Rundu, but you are actually playing in the international field. You are doing adverts, you are doing campaigns, you are doing runway shows that other international models do, and you are doing them because you were selected. So you do belong here. So it started to become natural all of a sudden. Yeah, I went into the media space. I did not study it. I just knew that I have a passion for it. So that's how I ended up being in the media space. And yeah, after that, project after project, I fell in love with working with kids. After my participation in Big Brother Africa, I was representing Namibia. Our first task was to come up with a kids play, like a pantomime. So we came up with a play, and I wrote the script, I directed the play, I wrote all the characters, and I called it Waka Waka Mu. No, I called it Waka Waka. It was just called Waka Waka. And after winning the task, I told myself, one day I am going to create a TV show for kids called Waka Waka. And then a few years later, I created Waka Waka Moo for the drama. So and then after that, moving back to Namibia, the fashion industry was very raw, it was very dry, there wasn't much happening. And with my experience of traveling across the world, I sort of got exposed to fashion weeks. So every time I would leave to go and take part in a fashion week, people would ask me, what is a fashion week? So I was like, no, this is how it works, this is what it is, and all of that. So then I decided to partner up with like-minded individuals and form the annual MTC Windhoek Fashion Week. So that's how Fashion Week came to be, and this is the 6th year. It's quite a big event. People come from outside the country to take part in the MTC Windhoek Fashion Week. We have designers from Namibia from outside. We now have the Den, which is the Designers Emporium Namibia, which is a shop that houses local Namibian designs at Marua Mall. Yeah, and then I was meant to start my clothing line in 2016 already, but because MTC Windhoek Fashion Week was in existence, I couldn't do that. I had to focus on grooming and growing other local designers and growing the fashion scene. But last year, 2020, I decided to finally come up with my own clothing line, which I've been planning for the past 5 years. And it came to be Zuriel, powered by Standard Bank. Standard Bank assisted me in growing it, in making sure it's out there. And here we are, from showcasing last year in December to being invited to showcase at Milan Fashion Week in Europe in September. And just a couple of days ago, Zuriel dressed one of the Miss Namibia contestants, which was quite big for us. Our clothing line is doing well. We have orders from outside of Namibia. We've already sent stuff out. We are fully booked for the year. We have private clients, we have weddings, so there's quite a lot happening, preparing for fashion weeks outside of Namibia, in Nigeria, in Milan, in South Africa, and the MTC Windhoek Fashion Week taking place in November. So it's a lot. Then there's Waka Waka Moo. We just finished 26 episodes. Kids TV show, the first ever in the country to have cartoons in English as well as local languages. I mean, imagine a child sitting at home watching cartoons in Oshivambo, Oshiherero, Rukwangali, German, Afrikaans, Kwekwe Khova in Setswana. So that is very powerful. That's why we decided that Waka Waka Mu is something that is a force to be reckoned with. And Waka Waka Mu has also aired in Europe as well as Canada and the Caribbean islands. In the USA as well, so it's quite big, Waka Waka Mu, when I was developing the characters, I had people in mind, I had people that had impacted my life personally in mind. So I wanted the characters to reflect the characteristics of the people that had influenced me. The very first character is called Wakachi. Wakachi is named after the late Nancy Chichi Muinho, who was an amazing darling. Everybody loved her. She was like the sunshine. She was the light. She was the energy. She was that glue that kept so many people together. So naturally, my first character was named after her, Wakachi, Chi. So like I mentioned, she's light. Wakachi is yellow to represent the sun and light, and her heart is shaped like a. I mean, her nose is shaped like a heart to represent the love that she has, and her quality is all about love. She's the loving waka. She's the waka that keeps everyone together. She's the waka that is happy and bubbly, and she's a ray of sunshine. Yeah.
What does the future hold for you?
The future. Definitely. I'm gonna conquer the world. This is something that I've told myself. Waka Waka Mu is gonna be on the world stage. It's gonna be one of the Disney movies that every child in the world is gonna say the Waka chant, which goes like Waka Waka Mu Mu, Waka Waka Mu Mu, Waka Waka Mu. Every child in the world is gonna say that chant. There's gonna be a blockbuster Disney movie, Waka Waka Mu, someday. I see it. I visualize it. I know it's gonna come to pass. Zuriel, the fashion line, is gonna go global as well. It's gonna be on the level of your Louis Vuitton, your Dior, your Givenchy. Yeah, so I see myself there. I won't even lie. That's where I see myself, conquering the world. Namibia to the world. This boy from Rundu is coming. Yeah, and then Forbes. I was listed in the Forbes 30 under 30 2 years ago. 2019 was 2 years ago, right? Yes, that's correct. So I was listed amongst many African creators. I was number 19. It was quite an accomplishment and a very big achievement for me, because there are so many other creatives there are so many other creative Africans, and they chose me. So it was quite a big deal for me being listed, because I've always wanted to be part of the Forbes list. But for me, I'm just getting started. There's so much more I want to do. I want to take over the world. I want to be there. And most of all, I want to put my country, Namibia, on top of the world map, because we have other African players on the world map, but we don't really have a Namibian that's really doing it like, oh my gosh, this person is from Namibia. So I want to be that guy. I know I'm going to be that guy. And I have an amazing team behind me from Waka Waka Mu, from Zuriel, from MT7 Fashion Week, from Standard Bank, from, yeah, everybody's just rooting and pushing to ensure that we actually are out there representing Namibia to the world. Thank you.
In this never-ending world of same, it's easy to just do what everyone else has done. Follow a path that you know will get you there. But where is there? The same place as everyone else? Now, getting it right is good, but it's really about how you get there that makes your story worth telling. Take whiskey, for example. There are ways to make it that have worked for over 1,000 years. There are rules, tradition, and rich history. Mastery built over generations, and we salute them. But we also believe in trying new things. You can't do same and expect to break fresh ground. You need new ideas that build on the old. Like a musician taking a classic track and lovingly rearranging it. New beat, fresh lyrics, creating a totally new sound. Use the old, bring in the new to give it your own spin. Make it better, from mastery to remastery. That's exactly how we came to make our single grain whiskey. Made in a little distillery in a small sleepy town at the mouth of the Bainskloof Pass. A place of beauty, purity and nature. Hardly the whiskey capital of the world, but being small means that you can try things the old guard can't. Our founder distiller knew this. He took sun-kissed South African maize, then he matured his whiskey not once but twice, uniquely balancing the smoothness of Irish whiskey with the sweetness of bourbon for a lingering warm finish, creating a taste that kept winning against the old masters, including being world's best single grain whiskey. That's 29 awards in just over 10 years. Not that we're counting. Baines, Mastery Remastered.
Next, we head to Swakopmund, where Irene-Mari van der Walt spoke to Zee Adams, who was raised in a Muslim home. Before she finished primary school, her parents decided that Western culture, of which a traditional education is a part, was not for them. Zee was then taken out of school, and now in her 30s, after a 10-year marriage and having 2 children, she aspires to a matric certificate.
My full name is Zainab Rycliffe Adams. I'm known by Zee. So that's my nickname, I guess, but it's my known name. My family is Muslim, so I was raised Islamical. We didn't follow the Sharia law because obviously we were here in Namibia, but as far as possible, they did conform to the Islamical customs and beliefs and mannerisms. So I wore the scarf, when we were in Juneside, we wore normal skirts and everything, school skirts and stuff. When we went to Narva, my parents became a little bit more extreme with it. I think also a part of it was, we were kids, we were naughty and, we'd pull up the skirt because they made it really long and so forth. And for one reason or another, they decided to get us very, very long skirts. Like, we're talking about skirts to your ankles, yeah? So there was no way of checking that up. It was what it is, It was difficult because you were so different from everyone else, and the religion as well made you isolated in a way. Even though there was a Muslim community there, you were isolated because everybody at school wore normal. Everybody at school was dating and, worrying about the jeans and the weekend and stuff, and it wasn't the things we were taught. We had prayer 5 times a day. The one was before sunrise, and then after that, my dad had the Quran, the Islamical Bible. Yeah, so we would read Surah Ar-Rahman, Surah Yusuf, and Surah Mulk, if I'm correct. I know there was 3, but it's long. We'd sit every single morning, and we'd read that. And then again, there's an afternoon prayer, and then there's another afternoon prayer, and then there's a prayer at sunset, and then there's a later evening prayer. So it's Fajr in the morning, Dhuhr in the afternoon, Asr again in the afternoon, then Maghrib, like just after the sun sets, and then Isha, like an hour and 20 minutes after that. And then that's the end of the prayer. But don't be mistaken, even that prayer, there's a procedure, because you have to take wudu, so that's like ablution. So you have to wash your hands 3 times. You have to rinse out your mouth 3 times, your nose 3 times, your face, your arms till your elbows, your forehead, your feet. It's very much about being pure, which was actually a big part for me, about Christianity that I found appealing. Because for me, it didn't make sense. You doing all of this, to be pure, to stand before God, but I'm never going to be pure enough to stand before God, I'm never going to be good enough to stand before God. So how does that make sense? Unless I come to Him as I am and I say, I'm sin, I'm flawed, I'm dirty, help me. I moved to Namibia when I was very, very young. So I think I was 7 years old, and we traveled a bit. We stayed in the north for about a year. My little sister was born, and then we ended up moving to Walvis. We did Afrikaans for grade 1 in the north, and I did awful. Absolutely, I did not pick up on the Afrikaans. It was not my mother tongue. So when I came to Walvis, we went to Juneside because my mom felt that it was the only English-speaking school, and I clearly needed to be in an English-speaking school. And I redid grade 1, and then I did there till grade 5, and then I did grade 6 and grade 7 in Narwhal Pre-Primary, or Primaire. And during that time, my parents took me out of school, and it was a very dramatic time. It was a lot of series of events that transpired for that to lead up to it. But I got taken out of school, and I was put into the world of adulthood, where we had to, learn how to run a company. And then there was different time periods. There was time periods that we would be at home and taking care of our siblings and, doing all the things that's required to take care of them, cooking, cleaning, doing laundry, all the necessary things. And there was times that we would be running the company and managing it and so forth. I think they justified it with religion, saying high school is evil and Western culture is evil, and their mindset and mannerisms. But that's also my understanding of it. I think that is something they would really have to answer, because I was a child, so I don't know what them as a grown-up was thinking to do that.
And do you think that your parents moving their religion to justify things like taking us out of school is an accurate representative or represents Islam accurately?
No, most definitely not. You know, it's a religion that literally is about peace. The greeting is literally peace and salutations upon you, and the response is peace and salutations be upon you back, you know, and your family. So it's a very loving religion, and it teaches a lot of things about giving charity, values of family, you know, respecting yourself, valuing your body, you know, showing kindness to others, you know. There's so much in it. But as we've seen in history, people have taken religion time and time again and abused it. Time and time again, people have, from sister wives to, you know, pedophiles, have used every religion, including Christianity. You know, like I was telling you, in Namibia, what happened with Christianity and how it was introduced here, it literally is abuse of that level of power, because religion is power, because it's someone's personal belief.
And do you think there's a misunderstanding of Islam in the world and in Namibia?
Not just a misunderstanding. I think there is, I don't know what the word is to use, but there is an image portrayed, like a idea of what it looks like and what it is, and a lot of it is to suit people's agenda. You know, people, for example, in like France, where they forbid a girl to wear, you know, a headscarf and stuff, you know, it's not the same as forbidding someone to not wear a cross, you know, if it's a part of the faith. But if they politically, you know, isolate this group by restricting their belief, you open up a lot of things. So, no, I think that the representation of Islam out there is very negative. It's associated with terrorism. It's associated with bombs and, you know, degrading of women. And I can tell you there's a lot of good Muslim men out there that are not like that with their families. They are loving, they are kind, they are loyal, you know. But there are those also that abuse it.
Thank you for tuning in today. If you know of someone you feel should feature on our program, please contact us at brave@nmh.com.na.